Hey guys, it's Bird and Justin here, out over at Quintana's Boxing and Fitness. We're going over one of my all-time favorite sweeps from closed guard. And as you all know, I'm not all that big into knowing the names of things, so we're just going to call it the bird sweep for now. If you know the actual name, let me know down in the comments, maybe like and subscribe while you're at it. Okay, whenever I'm in closed guard and I know I want to go underneath the legs with my left hand, I have to keep it away from them. If they're able to control my active hand, then they shut down basically everything I want to do before it even starts. I have two main ways that I like to stop this from happening. Get really good at grip fighting, which is what everyone should do. That's a smart, active approach. Or, there's a lazy approach. Just move the arm out of reach. Now, this sweep works best when they stand up or pick you up. It's my best counter against more athletically gifted among us. Once they've stood up, I want to get control of their right hand if I'm going to go underneath that side. I swing underneath that leg until I can reach the same side sleeve. As soon as I get that, I let my hips drop and I pivot as if I was going to go for a normal plot up. Side note, if you like those, they work great. This is a fun setup for them. But if you want an easy sweep, my heel goes into the armpit, extends them away, rotate as they fall and come up. The more bend in the elbow that you get, the easier it is to get the momentum going. Now it might seem counterintuitive to give them your other sleeve like this, but if I want them to stand up, like clockwork, they almost always do once they have that grip. But there is a perk to letting them grab it. Unless, they have complete control over my sleeve. I can almost always use that arm to get control of the opposite sleeve. It can get a little harder to get the momentum going to finish a sweep, but there's some tricks to make that easier. My outside leg can swing back under the arm and hook the elbow to force the bend. From there, I can either go for the sweep, or, if I need to, I can unhook my outside leg, swing it like a pendulum. More often than not though, all it takes is just extending them away. Another option is taking my outside leg and swinging it over top rather than going underneath to force the bend. Normally I prefer to go underneath, but sometimes you're forced to wide swing, and it just ends up happening. Just be sure not to lift your hips so high that they can grab them and possibly throw them by. Now, if they maintain a strong grip on your collar when they stood up, you can either A, just pretend it doesn't exist and sweep them anyways, or B, using both legs, leg press the arm to strip the grip on the collar, maintain your grips, force whatever level of bend you need, and proceed with the sweep. If they just posture super hard as a counter, focus on maintaining the grips, getting the bend in the elbow, then once again, extend and victory.
Success!
If they don't want to stand up, this is virtually identical to how I get my flower sweep, or the pendulum sweep for the politically correct. I will never call it that though. If I'm going onto the left leg again, I want a loose grip on the right arm. If I pull hard, he'll reactively pull it harder, so I'm really just keeping the grip until I go. My hips lift up by biting with my heels, and I pull that grip straight towards my neck, while at the same time I dive underneath that left leg again. If I only get so deep that I can't grab the shoulder or the sleeve in any way, it's not that big of a deal so long as I can still keep the leg. But going forward, the point of my right knee is going to come in front of his chest while leaving my foot as the hook on his side. The hook pulls inwards as the knee lifts and pushes until I can get a solid grip on his wrist sleeve. When started like this, when they're not quite standing up yet, it's easier to get the sweep going. It's harder to set up, but it's easier to actually sweep them. Typically, you don't have to focus too much effort into getting the bend in the elbow. You can just extend, rotate for the sweep, and come up. Some more variation can happen here, such as switching my right hand to controlling the right sleeve in order to feed it to my left. I can also post my right foot on the mat for a little extra oomph. Once again, this is a great way to get into any omoplata stuff. If you do have to earn the bend in the elbow, it's exactly the same as before. Kick over or kick under. As soon as you feel like you have the leverage to extend, launch them. If they try and stop the pass by kicking over, dig low and deep enough that your pressure is going directly into their hip flexors. Think heavy sink-in pressure. Most of the time, you just have to swim your knee to release their arm otherwise. Now, if they're clubbing your head, you can absolutely still force this. Grabbing the collar behind their neck, you can extend your arm to remove the pressure holding your hips in place. Start going underneath the legs like normal with your left arm while swinging your right side legs and hip out. It can take some kicking to get the right angle for it, but you're now in a great spot for the flower sweep or whatever the fuck this sweep is. I'm still calling it the bird sweep just because I do not know the name, but if you don't have the body control for that, push them away with the collar until your knee and foot hook can come back into play. If any weird shit is going on, like their arm is too far across for some weird reason, you can always hook it and bring it back in. Just remember, if you have any issues with this sweep, the more bend in the elbow, the less effort for the sweep.